think that the schools, the Chinuch system, is doing enough these days to imbue the children with midas tovos inside the actual curriculum and inside the classroom? Or what thoughts do you have to share with that?
Obviously, the Chinuch system is under a tremendous challenge. There is every institution, every Torah institution, is in desperate need of funds to cover their expenses. Ideally, we would have much smaller classes. Ideally, a Rebbe would be able to devote himself much more to every individual student. That's simply impossible today with the amount of work the amount of number of students that the Rebbe has to attend to. Right? So I think the Chinuch system should look for ways in which to maximize teaching midas. But again, teaching midas is one thing if you teach it from a book or lecture, or teaching midas is something else when you practice it. Okay? Let me tell you a very simple example. In my uncle's yeshiva, the Rav of Rabbi Dr, there was a youngster who skipped shiur. Right? And so the Rav called him in. And he told them, what you did was not acceptable. Right? By skipping shiur was not acceptable. And for what you did, you deserve to get a patch. Right? So, let this be instead of a patch. Right? That young man, right, 40 years later remembers that patch. Right? So what happens is that we have to, the Rebbe who can manifest his midas to the children helps them get good midas.
What do you say about the sort of leadership that is in our community today? Do you find sort of significance in the type of leadership in the Gedolim that exists today in terms of vis-a-vis in the past?
Yeah, we can't. It's very difficult to make it to say that because we have to accept that Yiftach B'Torah Kishmur B'Torah. Every generation has its leaders. Every generation has its Gedolim. But since our history, every generation has been weaker. Right? We said we don't have the Gedolim now that we had 100 years ago. And 100 years ago they said we don't have the Gedolim that we had 200 years ago. And this is the way it goes. We have to realize that we have to work with our leaders.
And what we have, the koiches.
Yeah, we have great leaders, and we have to work with them. But we can't expect anybody today to be a Rishon or a Tanner and a Moira.
You said in your book that boys, it would be a nice idea for boys to learn Mishnah until the age of 15. And until the age of learning Gemara, like it says in the Mishnah.
Yeah. One of the things that I've seen is that youngsters, children, are exposed to Gemara at an early age when some of them, their minds are not developed well enough to get all the intricacies of Gemara. And what happens is that they feel that they don't get it, they think I must be dumb, I must be stupid, and they lose faith in themselves and they lose cheshik. That's why I suggested to follow the Mishnah, right? And not teach Gemara until whatever age the Mishnah says, 14 or 15, and spend those years of Torah learning Chumash and learning Mishnah, because Mishnah is much simpler, and a youngster who cannot grasp the more intricacies of a pilpul in Gemara or a difficult Tosfos is a much easier thing grasping Mishnah, developing the confidence in himself that he can understand it, so that when he comes to Gemara, he feels ready to do so. Go back several decades ago, when college was looked on as treif, right? It was looked on as treif because people took the kinds of courses that could give them hashkafos, which were not Torahic, right? And so that was the problem with college then. That has changed dramatically, right? People in my early times, would take classes in philosophy, right? Nobody bothers taking classes in philosophy today. Right? Today, people go to college to learn something, business administration, law, whatever, so that they can get a parnosa. Right? So the focus of college has changed totally now from what it was 50 years ago. Right? So years ago, the problem with college was that you might be exposed to wrong hashkafos. That's not the danger anymore. The danger in college today is the campus, right? Because the kind of immorality that goes on the campus is horrible, right? So if a young man or young woman goes to college today and is mixed with the general population, whose moral standards are non-Torah, totally opposed to Torah, there can be a horrible danger that they're going to be tempted to it. After all, human beings have temptations. So that's the danger of college today, which means that if we can have the necessary subjects taught in a frum environment, right? Maybe, if necessary, with separating young men and young women, but within a frum environment, so that people are not exposed to the campus, I don't see that college is a threat anymore. The old threat of college as of giving bad hashkafos is gone. Now the question is, the problem of college is the campus. And if you can have a legitimate campus that doesn't expose the students to immoral behavior, I don't think...
Baruch Hashem, they have things like this now. Baruch Hashem.
Yeah,
And
so
how would you describe the difference of the opposition that used to exist, or the sort of apathy or sort of resistance there was towards a frum tzir, a frum background going
well,
now?
That has changed dramatically. When I was a youngster, a person who wanted to be Shabbat Shabbos couldn't get a job. Right? A person who wanted to wear a yarmulke couldn't get a job. Right? A person who wanted to wear a beard could not get a job. And fortunately, our society has changed, and there's opportunities for people who want to keep Torah mitzvahs, that they can be out in the marketplace and out in industry and out in commerce, and they can function and succeed. So that has been a major social change.
How would you encourage doctors and psychotherapists? What sort of things do you look, or do you advise from psychotherapists to do different than it used to be?
Well, I think that everybody, whether a psychotherapist or not, ought to learn what Torah hashkafos are, because we're never free to deviate from Torah hashkafos. And so what we need to do, whether we're a psychotherapist or a electrician or a contractor or whatever, is that we have to learn Torah hashkafos, that we have to learn Musa. I think that Mesilas Yesharim is a sefer that should be learned almost by heart. These are the kinds of things that everybody needs. And of course, if you're a psychotherapist, you're going to apply these things in your hashkafos and working with people.